This was a tough question for me to decide. So take your pick. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and, ellipsis, A, used to ditch high school math to go out to eat. B, for a time during my teen years had 3 jobs, working at JCPenney Portrait Studio, in a fashion store at the mall, and for a horse trainer every Saturday. C, when I was little, my mom used to take me to the library every week, where I would return with a huge stack of books. I read every horse-themed piece of literature in the place, and also Gone with the Wind. It's obvious at this point that I went with D, all of the above. What I'd like to point out is that it's really endearing to me, but what she shared was, I return library books, I work very hard. I feel really bad that I ditched in high school. So this can be your confessional. Can we get a round of applause for Lorinda, everybody? Thank you. I got it.
You're a professional? Okay.
That's terrible.
That's good. That's, yeah. So clearly, Danielle, I was also raised Catholic, based on what Sean took away from my childhood memories. I'm not guilty about ditching math to eat, though. That's just who I am. Okay, so I'm reading an excerpt from a novel in progress called The Nature of Fire. Maria ran out of the house screaming. No words in it, just guttural, anguished, almost growling. The rays of setting sun glinted gold through the screen door as it slammed shut behind her, trapping Mama's voice in the hallway where she stood in the wake of my twins' departure, yelling, "Stay out, see if I care." My arms brushed against the coarse polyester of the work clothes she hadn't yet changed out of as I pushed past, following Maria out into the twilight. We were 12 years old, that gangly age when everything felt wrong. They fought all the time then, back when Maria lived here. It started when we were 7, when Maria had tried to light her hair on fire, and got worse as we grew older. Grandma said it was because they were too alike. She stayed out of it. But to me, it was like they spoke different languages. I always tried to translate, but they wouldn't or couldn't listen. I didn't know then that Grandma meant they had the same sort of spirits, powerful ones with hands over their ears. Wait up! My legs churned as fast as they could over the dirt road that ran through our neighborhood, past homes with gardens and some with unkempt weeds, past backyards with woolly horses or whiskered goats and a few brown chickens. Ahead of me, Maria's black ponytail whipped behind her like a war flag. Though we were the same size and shape, she'd always been faster than me, as though her lithe brown limbs were propelled by the fierceness of her personality. She disappeared into the bosque, thick woods that ran along the river. Brambles scratched at my bare legs as I plunged in after her, leaving behind marks like red thread across my freckled, paled skin. Stickers caught in the ends of my brown hair. Finally, I caught up to her where she bent under the protective cover of cottonwood trees, gathering twigs and small branches in her arms. "Hey," breathing hard, reaching out to touch the blade of her shoulder. "Don't worry, Mama didn't mean it." Her gaze scowled at me, dark, narrowed eyes, mouth twisted. "Are you going to help me or not?" Despite our different looks and personalities, I'd always thought of us as two halves of a whole. She passion, I pragmatism. Together we were even. My fingers found the gnarled skin of a stick even as I asked, "What are we doing?" She moved, unstopping, the lines of her blurred. "Building a fire." "Here?" She would burn down the whole bosque. "No, stupid," pointing to a space unseen beyond the reeds. The sky was already deepening from pink and purple into a ceiling of navy. Through the trees, I thought I saw the glint of animal eyes, perhaps the shape of a coyote. But Maria would not relent. Quickly, I filled my arms. Before I knew it, cool grains of sand were spilling into our sneakers. Our feet sank into the deep of the dry riverbed. A wide ribbon of Rio Grande loomed several feet away, its surface thick and murky, the current imperceptible from a lack of recent rain. We dumped the branches we carried onto the beach, then added dry brush and pieces of driftwood we found nearby. Maria took a matchbook out of her pocket, Isleta printed across the cover, Grandma's favorite casino. She lit one and threw it on the pyre. Soft smoke curled into the quickly darkening sky as flames took hold. We stood for a long time watching the burning until the sandbars beyond were black as the sky overhead. It was the first fire we ever lit on the riverbed, the smallest one, but as I remember, it was also the fiercest, burning as it did with Maria's unquieting rage. I stood apart from the flames, a little afraid of them, but Maria crept close, her face illuminated by the glow. Suddenly, she broke the heavy silence. She doesn't do shit for us anyway. Grandma does everything. Looking back, it seems important to remember what she and Mama were fighting about, but I can't. Their clashes were frequent and unpredictable. Whether Maria hadn't cleaned the bathroom well enough or chopped the vegetables the size Mama liked, or whether Mama bought Maria a pink outfit she hated, or laughed at Maria's sincere statement that she would never get married. Any wrong move by one could set the other off into a terrible rage. Inevitably, the arguments always got Mama started on how she never wanted to be a single mother. And even though I never spoke back, I always felt cut open when she used that line. Still, I tried for peace. She didn't mean it, I said. Maria whirled on me. You are such a two-face. You never take my side. I'm sorry, I shouted. I'm not like you. I never know what to do. I'm sorry, okay? Prove it. Her voice stony. How? The fire crackling in the quiet. Maria thought for only a moment before she took a small stick from the edge of the fire, its end aflame. She held the burning side toward me. I took a step back. Go on. Wrap your hand around it. What? If you do it, I'll do it. You know I can't. She shoved it closer. The wood popped and hissed as it burned. Maria, stop. Ray, if you're really with me, you'll do it. The flame leapt before me, its red, blue, orange heat alive and wild, precarious on the end of the twig that fueled it. I had thought setting the fire was a game, something to make my sister feel better. Now I saw it was not a game at all. For Maria, it was not. All right, I said. I'll do it. My hand trembled, but slowly I extended the tip of my finger toward the flame. Wide-eyed, she nodded, urging me forward. Perspiration prickled above my upper lip and under my arms, each nerve ending electric. Against my will, my hand snapped back to my side, and just as quickly Maria flailed the stick into the fire. Then she was in front of me, both her hands gripping my wrists, twisting the skin. Traitor! She sobbed suddenly, doubled over, pulling me with her, black strands of hair across the sand. I knew you wouldn't. I wanted to do this for her, but my most basic instincts made me pull away. Never had I known so keenly the will for self-preservation. Adrenaline coursed through me, hard at a full gallop. She sat back in the dirt, staring at the fire. Part of me worried she might throw herself into those flames. Maybe that was what she'd wanted, but she was too scared, so she'd ask me to test it for her, to see how badly it hurt. Taking her hands, I pressed my cheek to hers, sand and tears between our skins. I have an idea, I said. We went home and left our sand-filled sneakers on the stoop. An owl hooted in the distance, a sound like the moon, round and full. The house quiet and dark, though it wasn't late. Mama's purse sat open on the table by the front door. Feeling like a thief with my hand inside, I retrieved the mini bottle of hand sanitizer she always carried with her, pressed a finger to my lips when Maria opened her mouth to ask. We tiptoed past the couch where Mama slept in front of the TV. In the hallway, a warm glow under the door of Grandma's room. My shoulders stiffened, but my feet were light. Stopping in the kitchen to take a box of salt, leading a silent Maria out the back sliding door, kneeling on the patio, a blob of hand sanitizer on the concrete. Light it, I said. Instantly, a blue flame sprang up, as I had known it would. It danced on the floor, and I scooped it into my hands. The flame covered my fingers and palm like a force field, skin encased beneath. The heat against my hand making me nervous, but putting on a show for her, rubbing my fingers together, urging the fire around my hand for a few brief moments. It soon grew too hot, and with my other hand I reached for the box of salt and poured it over. The flame smothered almost as quickly as it had caught. Maria wanted to try next, of course. The ethyl alcohol makes it cool enough to touch, I explained, a little thrill spiraling in my throat at remembering that fact I'd read. My twin said nothing, but her face gleamed. She held the flame longer than I had, watching that blue shield claim her hands until the ethyl nearly burned out. Thank you.